Did you know? In Japan, the number of centenarians has reached 99,000. This number has set a new record for 55 consecutive years, meaning that for every 100,000 people, there are about 80 centenarians. What a staggering figure. While we spend thousands of dollars on gym memberships and fleeting fitness trends, elderly people in their 70s and 80s in Japan seem to live longer and healthier lives than anyone else on the planet, effortlessly. But what is their secret? Is it really sushi or green tea? Or some mysterious genetic advantage? A team of researchers from Harvard Medical School, armed with the same questions, followed these super-agers for 5 years. What they discovered turns all our conventional wisdom about aging on its head. The ultimate secret to longevity isn't just about diet, nor is it entirely about genes. The answer lies hidden in 6 simple movements they do every day. These can't even be called exercises or fitness in the way we usually understand them. They are such fundamental movements, so basic that Western doctors initially dismissed them as trivial and completely insignificant, until they saw the brain scans. Those results were extraordinary. Seniors who practiced these daily activities experienced a 40% slower rate of cognitive decline than their Western peers. Their joints remained astonishingly flexible after decades of use. Their balance systems functioned like those of people 20 years younger. Researchers at Stanford University have called this discovery the most seriously overlooked factor in longevity in modern medicine. Next, you will learn about these 6 specific movements. We'll start with the simplest and move step by step to the most effective. But I must warn you, the number 1 movement, in a study involving 15,000 Japanese seniors, was proven to be directly linked to an increase in average lifespan of a full 7 years. Yet, 90% of Americans have never even heard of it. This movement takes only 2 minutes and requires no equipment. But neuroscientists have found that it activates more areas of the brain simultaneously than any other physical activity they have ever measured. Before we begin, please tell us your age and where you're from in the comments below. We promise to read and reply to every single comment. Alright, let's start with number 6. But don't be fooled by its ranking, because this is the cornerstone of every Japanese elder's daily life. Number 6 is the art of mindful walking. Let's begin with a movement that seems so simple it's almost irrelevant. But Japanese elders regard it as a sacred medicine. They call it sanpo. This is not just a walk, but a conscious, focused movement. Its speed is about half your normal walking pace. Japanese seniors typically practice this for 20 to 30 minutes every morning, usually before breakfast. The key difference from the brisk or power walking we value in the West is its deliberate slowness, combined with a specific breathing pattern. You inhale for 2 steps, hold your breath for another 2 steps, and then exhale slowly over a full 4 steps. This unique rhythm allows the cardiovascular and nervous systems to achieve a state of synchronization that no form of fast walking can match. A 2019 study from Kyoto University followed 3,000 seniors over the age of 60 for 10 years. The results were astounding. Participants who practiced this art of mindful walking daily had 62% less arterial stiffness than the control group who never practiced it. Their blood pressure dropped by an average of 12 points systolic and 8 points diastolic. But what's even more interesting is its effect on balance. This extremely slow walking allows your foot to make a complete, intimate contact with the ground, activating all 33 joints in each foot. This process sends a massive amount of proprioceptive signals to the brain, which is the body's ability to sense its own position in space. This greatly improves balance and spatial awareness. One study found that Western seniors who adopted this mindful walking practice for just 8 weeks increased their average single leg stand time by 45 seconds. To practice it correctly, you need to focus on rolling your entire foot across the ground, from a gentle heel strike, through the arch, and then pushing off with your toes. Your eyes should be fixed on a point about 6 feet ahead of you, not down at your feet. Your arms should swing naturally and slightly, with your hands completely relaxed and fingers gently curled. That breathing pattern is crucial, and it takes practice. In the beginning, you can count the steps in your head to maintain the rhythm. Inhale for 2, hold for 2, exhale for 4. Early morning is the best time to practice, as cortisol levels are naturally higher at that time, making the calming effects of the slow walk more pronounced. Try to avoid doing this on a treadmill, as the moving belt interferes with natural foot mechanics. If possible, choose varied terrain. Research from the University of Tokyo found that seniors who walked on natural surfaces like grass or dirt paths had 20% greater joint flexibility than those who only walked on concrete. If you're a beginner, you can start with 10 minutes and gradually increase to 30 minutes over a few weeks. This isn't just walking, it's a moving meditation that sets a calm and focused tone for your day. Next, let's look at an exercise that can fundamentally rebuild your body. Number 5 is the daily reset stretch. Every morning at 6:30 a.m., a gentle piano melody flows through Japan's public broadcasting system. This is the signal for Rajya Taiso, or radio calisthenics. Since 1928, millions of Japanese have upheld this tradition daily. Please don't be misled by the word calisthenics. This is completely different from the high-skill Western training routines we might imagine. It is a fluid sequence of 13 specific stretches, lasting exactly 3 minutes and 15 seconds. Each movement targets multiple muscle groups simultaneously and maintains continuous motion throughout. There are no static holds, no strenuous pulls, only constant, gentle movement. Its sole purpose is to lubricate the joints and maintain full body flexibility. Researchers at Osaka Medical Universities studied 8,000 participants over the age of 60 who practiced these radio calisthenics daily. The results showed that, compared to non-practitioners, daily practitioners had 40% fewer falls and a 55% lower incidence of chronic back pain. Furthermore, their shoulders and hips maintained nearly a full range of motion well into their 80s. The science behind this is remarkable. These dynamic stretches can increase the production of synovial fluid in the joints, our body's natural lubricant, by up to 30%. Without regular movement, this fluid thickens and decreases with age, leading to the stiffness and pain we commonly associate with aging. The sequence begins with a gentle arm raise to open the chest and improve breathing capacity. You inhale as you raise your arms overhead, and exhale as you slowly lower them. This is followed by arm rotations to mobilize the shoulder joints, and then gentle twists to maintain spinal flexibility. Next are side bends to stretch the intercostal muscles between the ribs. Leg movements include marching in place, followed by shallow squats to maintain knee and hip mobility. The entire sequence maintains a gentle rhythm that moderately increases the heart rate enough to improve circulation, but without putting any stress on the body. To get the maximum benefit, timing is very important. Japanese elders typically perform this immediately after waking up, before eating or drinking anything. This is done to take advantage of the natural growth hormone peak that occurs during sleep. When these hormone levels are elevated, muscles and connective tissues are most responsive to stretching. The feeling during practice should be like moving through warm honey. There should never be any forcing or bouncing. If you can't complete the full routine at first, you can focus on the arm raises and gentle twists, as research has found these two movements provide the greatest benefits with the least effort. Interestingly, many Japanese companies still organize group radio calisthenics for their employees before the start of the workday. Productivity studies show that these employees have 30% fewer sick days than employees in companies without this habit. These short 3 minutes are not just a physical awakening, but also a mental reset. Now it's time to explore a movement that protects both your body and your brain. Number 4 is the primal squat rest. Walk into any park or garden in Japan, and you will likely see elderly people resting comfortably in a deep squat position. Their heels are flat on the ground, either chatting with friends or tending to plants. They can hold this position effortlessly for 10, 20, or even 30 minutes. In the West, however, most people over 60 can barely hold it for 10 seconds. This is not just a matter of flexibility. The primal squat rest is a fundamental human posture. that we have completely lost due to our chair-based culture. The reason Japanese seniors can maintain this ability throughout their lives is that they practice it inadvertently every day, often accumulating 20 to 30 minutes throughout the day. The Tokyo Metropolitan Institute of Gerontology conducted a groundbreaking study following 5,000 seniors for 12 years. The study found that those who could hold a deep squat for at least 2 minutes had a 70% lower risk of needing assisted living in the future. Their hip mobility was sufficient for all daily activities, and they maintained their independence for an average of 9 years longer than those who could not squat. Biomechanics perfectly explains why this posture is so crucial. The squat opens the hip joints to their full range of motion, preventing the joint capsule tightening that plagues many seniors and leads to a shuffling gait. It maintains the ankle flexibility essential for balance and strengthens the pelvic floor muscles that control bladder function. Most importantly, it decompresses the spine, allowing nutrient-rich fluid to flow into the discs between the vertebrae. Harvard researchers found that in regions where squatting is still a cultural norm, the rate of hip replacement surgery is 80% lower, and the rate of chronic lower back pain is 60% lower. To regain this ability, you can start with an assisted squat against a wall. Stand with your feet shoulder-width apart, toes pointing slightly outward. Then, slowly lower your body, letting your knees track in the direction of your toes. If your heels can't stay flat on the ground at first, place a rolled-up towel underneath them. Try to hold for 30 seconds initially, gradually increasing the time as your mobility improves. The key here is frequency, not duration. 5 one-minute squats throughout the day are far more effective than trying to hold one for 5 minutes straight. Japanese elders often squat while waiting for the bus, gardening, or even during commercial breaks on TV. They have fully integrated this movement into the fabric of their daily lives, requiring no extra effort or dedicated time. Use this posture as functionally as possible. Squat down to organize a low shelf. Play with your grandchildren in this position. Squat to tie your shoes instead of bending over. Every functional use reinforces this movement pattern and preserves the critical mobility that keeps you independent. Next is a practice that will reshape your nervous system and bring you lasting stability. Number 3 is the one-leg balance. This may sound incredible, but in Japan, doctors prescribe the one-legged stand as commonly as Western doctors prescribe blood pressure medication. Patients over 60 are advised to stand on one leg for 1 minute, twice a day, as a standard preventive measure. This practice is even covered by Japanese health insurance because the data supporting it is so compelling. The Research Institute for Aging at Fukuoka University tracked 12,000 participants for 15 years. The results showed that those who practiced the one-legged stand daily had a 68% reduction in hip fractures and a 75% reduction in hospitalizations due to falls. Even more surprisingly, brain scans revealed a significant increase in gray matter in their motor cortex and cerebellum, the two areas crucial for our coordination and balance. When you stand on one leg, your body makes thousands of micro adjustments every minute to maintain balance. These adjustments not only train the muscles but, more importantly, strengthen the entire neuromuscular system. Your proprioceptors, the sensors that tell your brain where your body is in space, become highly active. The vestibular system in your inner ear becomes more responsive. Visual processing speed also increases, as the brain needs to integrate information from multiple systems with unprecedented efficiency. The standard practice is very simple. Stand next to a wall or a sturdy chair for safety. Lift one foot just an inch off the ground. That's enough. Gaze at a fixed point about 10 feet in front of you. Breathe normally and try to hold the position for 30 seconds. Then, switch legs and repeat. As you progress, you can increase the challenge by closing your eyes. This removes visual input, forcing your other balance systems to work harder. Japanese elders often do this exercise while brushing their teeth, which allows them to effortlessly complete their 2 minutes of training during a daily activity. This clever time stacking creates an automatic habit loop, ensuring consistency. Advanced practitioners also add small movements while balancing. For example, slowly turning their head from side to side, raising their arms overhead, or drawing small circles in the air with the lifted foot. Each variation challenges a different aspect of balance and coordination. The key here is progressive overload. When 30 seconds becomes easy, increase it to 45. When balancing with your eyes closed becomes manageable, try standing on a folded towel for an unstable surface. This constant progression prevents plateaus and maintains brain neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to form new connections. Researchers at the Mayo Clinic found that a person's single leg stand time is actually a better predictor of longevity than blood pressure or cholesterol levels. People over 60 who can stand on one leg for 30 seconds have a mortality rate similar to those a full decade younger. Now, prepare yourself for a movement with almost magical effects. Number 2 is the floor to stand flow. Here's a fact about aging in Japan that might surprise you. The average Japanese person over the age of 70 moves from standing to sitting on the floor and back up again more than 20 times a day. They sit on the floor to eat, drink tea, watch TV, and socialize. Each transition is an incredibly complex, full-body movement. It maintains a level of strength, flexibility, and coordination that no gym machine can replicate. The University of Tsukuba conducted a large-scale study on 10,000 seniors, comparing those who regularly sat on the floor with those who only used chairs. The results were dramatic. The floor sitters had 40% greater lower body strength, 50% better hip flexibility, and were still able to get up from the floor without any assistance well into their 90s. But most shockingly, their cognitive test scores were consistently 15% higher. The researchers found that the complex motor planning required for the floor transition significantly activates the prefrontal cortex, the brain's executive function center. To safely get down to the floor and back up, you need sequential motor planning, balance control, force modulation, and spatial awareness. All of these high-level brain functions must be activated simultaneously. It is essentially a full brain workout disguised as a simple daily activity. The traditional method starts from standing with your feet together. You first bring one knee to the floor, then the other, and finally sit your hips back on your heels into a kneeling position, or saitsa. From here, you can transition to various floor sitting postures, like cross-legged or side sitting. To stand up, you reverse the process, bringing one foot forward into a lunge, pushing up through that leg to stand, and then bringing the other foot to meet it. It sounds simple, but it requires excellent control and strength. To build this ability, you can start with supported transitions. Use a low stool or ottoman as an intermediate step. As you lower yourself to a kneeling position, you can place your hands on the stool for stability before removing them. Over several weeks, gradually reduce the support from your hands until you can perform the movement independently. Start by practicing on a soft carpet or a yoga mat to reduce the impact on your knees. And remember, frequency is more important than perfection. Even just 2 or 3 floor transitions a day can bring significant benefits. Japanese elders don't see this as exercise. It's just their way of life. They have maintained this ability since childhood and have never allowed the movement pattern to degrade. For those relearning it later in life, patience is essential. It may take several months to perform the transition smoothly, but the payoff is immense. Brazilian researchers found that a person's ability to get up from the floor without using their hands is one of the strongest predictors of longevity. Those who could do it lived, on average, 6 years longer than those who could not. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. The king of all movements. Number 1 is the towel twist activation. This is it. The movement that changed everything researchers thought they knew about aging and exercise. All it requires is a simple hand towel, but Japanese centenarians credit it with contributing more to their vitality than any other practice. You hold a towel with both hands, arms extended in front of you. Then, you perform a specific twisting motion that creates an isometric contraction throughout your entire body. But to call it a towel twist is like calling the ocean a puddle. This movement activates muscle fibers that lie dormant in 99% of conventional exercises. When researchers at Tohoku University attached electrodes to subjects performing this movement, they recorded muscle activation in completely unexpected places. The deep spinal stabilizers fired up. The intrinsic muscles in the soles of the feet activated. Even the facial muscles showed increased activity. The study that shocked the medical community followed 15,000 Japanese seniors for 20 years. Those who performed this towel twist exercise for just 2 minutes a day had their life expectancy extended by a full 7 years. Their grip strength, the single best predictor of mortality, remained above the threshold for independent living until an average age of 92. They maintained the bone density of someone 20 years younger. And the brain scans revealed something even more extraordinary. The bilateral coordination required for the towel twist activates both hemispheres of the brain simultaneously, creating new neural pathways between them. Participants showed improved memory, faster reaction times, and a significantly lower incidence of dementia. The technique begins by holding a rolled-up hand towel horizontally at shoulder height. Your hands should be about 18 inches apart. You create tension by pulling outwards, as if trying to rip the towel apart. While maintaining this tension, slowly rotate your entire torso to the right, but keep your hips facing forward. The twist comes entirely from your core, not your arms. Hold at the point of maximum rotation for 3 seconds, then slowly return to the center before twisting to the left. The constant tension is the key. You are essentially creating resistance against yourself, which forces every stabilizing muscle in your body to engage. Your breathing must remain steady throughout. Inhale as you return to the center, and exhale as you twist. This breathing pattern activates the vagus nerve, triggering a parasympathetic response that reduces inflammation throughout the body. The beauty of it is its scalability. A beginner might use minimal tension and a smaller range of motion. An advanced practitioner can create immense tension and a deeper rotation. Some Japanese elders even perform variations of this exercise while sitting or lying down. But the principle remains the same. Create tension, maintain control, and coordinate your breath with the movement. Molecular biology explains why this movement is so powerful. This type of isometric contraction triggers the release of myokines, special proteins secreted by muscles when they contract. These myokines act like medicine, reducing inflammation, improving insulin sensitivity, and even promoting the growth of new brain cells. And the towel twist produces more myokines per minute than any other exercise ever studied. The timing of the practice can amplify its effects. Japanese elders typically perform this exercise immediately upon waking and just before sleeping. The morning session activates the entire nervous system for the day, while the evening session promotes recovery and improves sleep quality. 1 minute in the morning and 1 minute at night provides its full benefits. No special equipment is needed beyond that basic towel. There are no gym fees, no complex choreography, yet this simple practice has a more profound impact on every system in your body than hours of conventional exercise. Ultimately, understanding this revolution in aging isn't about discovering some new technique or a magic supplement. It's about rediscovering the profound wisdom embedded in the movements that Japanese elders have been quietly practicing for generations. These 6 movements are not just exercises. They are a complete system for maintaining the human body's function throughout a lifetime. They address strength, flexibility, balance, coordination, and neurological health all at once. They require no equipment, no special clothing, and no dedicated workout time. They blend seamlessly into daily life, eventually becoming as natural as breathing. The science is clear and overwhelming. People who maintain these movement patterns age in a fundamentally different way than those who do not. They maintain their independence. They maintain their cognitive function. They enjoy their final decades, rather than just enduring them. The choice is now in your hands. You can continue to follow the Western paradigm of exercise, treating aging as a disease to be fought. Or, you can adopt these simple movements and embrace aging as a natural process to be navigated with wisdom and grace. The Japanese have shown us the path. and science has validated their methods. The only question left is, will you start transforming the way you age today, or will you wait until tomorrow?